Hi, I'm Cheryl Burget with Your Sales Genius, and today I've got Tina Sorensen with TRu Solutions, and we're just going to have a conversation. So, Tina, tell me a little bit about what you do and who you help.
Thanks, Cheryl. Digital marketing consultant, I really help local businesses win their market online. And it's a lot different for different industries and different businesses. But everybody really needs to be online these days.
Absolutely, especially with what we've been through in the last 2 months. I've watched many companies pivot online, and some have done a better job than others, obviously,
Yes,
and some still haven't made that transition. Have you seen
exactly.
that a lot? Yeah. And what do you think is the main reason that people haven't been able to or aren't showing up online?
Well, I feel like with small business owners, a lot of times they're wearing so many hats, and it can be a little intimidating too. There's so many things that are changing, and it's changing very quickly. And a lot of times they just don't have the time or the resources to figure that out. But that's what I love to do, and that's my passion, is to be able to bring some clarity and help them figure out a really good strategy for them. They don't have to do everything online, but I can guarantee there are some things that they might be missing currently that I can help them get started.
You know, Tina, I think that particularly for a certain age group, and it's really your baby boomers, and really kind of a little bit younger than me as well. I'm the last year of the baby boomers who are quite intimidated, and feel like once they know something, then it changes, right? Because it's changing all the time. So,
Mhm.
and while we wear many hats, there's certain things that we should not, as business owners, I'm a business coach and a sales strategist, I should not be doing for myself if I'm not proficient at it. And being online is one of those things that I think is a really great place to outsource, at least for me, at least for me. And you probably find that out with a lot of other businesses as well. What types of businesses do you
Absolutely.
work with that you find that doing outsourcing the digital marketing is a good thing to do?
Any type of small, locally owned business, I think can benefit greatly from the resources that are available to them online. And that includes a lot of brick and mortar, different type of businesses like that. And I think people who are really wanting to hone in on a geographical location, those businesses, there again are so many tools out there that they can be utilizing to really drive traffic to their location or to their service area. And I think that that's a really great way to get online and to get in front of the right people. Again, it's not necessarily a nationwide campaign or a worldwide campaign, but something that they really need to focus in on for their own backyard.
Particularly when people are searching for something and you want to make
Exactly.
sure you're at the top of the search engine. You want to make sure you're out there and have good reviews and things like that. And a lot
Yes.
of times we are working in our businesses so much we don't have the opportunity, or we don't put any emphasis or focus on that. It's generally kind of an afterthought. Do you find that happening a lot?
Absolutely. Yes. I
And
think it's,
what
yeah, it's definitely something that small business owners have to recognize and understand enough to make really good decisions moving forward. Again, not meaning that they need a huge campaign, but there's some very critical foundational pieces online that they must be doing.
So Tina, tell me a couple of those foundational things that they must be doing that many aren't.
Well, I think one of the biggest underutilized platforms right now online is Google My Business Listings. And it's completely free, and it's really Google's solution for the small local businesses to be able to show up on the maps and push pin section of a search. And a lot of people don't understand all that goes into that, and what needs to be happening month over month or even week over week within that platform. So I think that's probably the number one tool that I see, again, that's free to business owners, but maybe just isn't being optimized or used the way it should be.
Can you tell me a couple of things on when you said week over week, month over month? What are a couple of things or one thing that you do with your clients to help optimize that profile?
One of the biggest things is finding and identifying specific keywords for their business that can go in the description piece of it. That's actually relatively new in the Google My Business listings.
Mm-hmm.
That came out early 2020, so like in January 2020. And most businesses haven't gotten those updates done so that those
Mm-hmm.
can be utilized. And then adding posts and updates to their Google My Business listing works a little bit like social media, but there's some really strategic things that need to happen there for Google to see them relevant in their market.
When you work with a client and you identify these things, are you working with their marketing department? Do you offer services that allow you to help them get started in this area? How does that work?
Yes, all of it. I can do
Yes,
all of
all of
it.
it. Perfect.
And I really do like to start kind of with that educational foundation with my clients. And if they have a marketing team, it's great for me to meet with all of them and kind of see where everybody fits in and what they can best do month over month and kind of what their bandwidth is, what they're familiar with, what they do need to learn, where those gaps might lie. And then I can jump in and kind of take over some of those pieces or really empower their team to be able to execute more efficiently.
Great. So whether a company has a marketing team or a marketing person dedicated to that, you can help them either way.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you don't mind, would you share a couple of kind of like must-haves or do's that we need to be paying attention to now across all of the social media platforms, particularly with what's going on right now, and where we need to be showing up? So give us an example of maybe a service-based business or something that where do they need to be and what are the do's? Or maybe, yeah, let's start with the do's and then we'll go to the don'ts. How about
Sure.
that?
Absolutely.
All right.
So Google's number one. Everybody
Mhm.
Googles it. And so that's very important to make sure that you're showing up in that platform. With that being said, depending on the industry and the business, they can be showing up on a Google search result page on different platforms. So Facebook business pages actually talks to Google. Google and Facebook talk back and forth to each other to validate and verify certain businesses and industries. LinkedIn is also a great thing that I think is, again, underutilized with B2B businesses. And I think that can be a great platform to be on. I think that, again, depending on the industry, whether it's a real estate agent, whether it's going to be maybe a service-based provider, that there's going to be different places that's going to be really important for you to show up. Some brick and mortars, actually all brick and mortars really, need to be on Yelp. I don't think that they necessarily need to be paying for it, but they need to be there and they need to look really good because that's where consumers are going. And again, the more places online that you can be and that you can own and look great on, the more Google's going to take notice, and consumers and possible prospects are going to see that and want to do business with you. You can be validated. You can be trusted more online. So, yeah, that was kind of the long answer. And it's a little bit, it's very general, but that's kind of where I come in and be able to say, okay, for your business to get to these goals, here's what you need to be doing. And it's really different for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it takes skill to be able to say, what's good for one business isn't necessarily good for another. But what makes, you said you need to look good. Give me an example or two of what makes people look good.
Well, the first thing is they have the correct information online.
Oh,
About 97% of the clients that I talk with have either misinformation or old information online that I can
wow.
usually find pretty quickly. So that's first and foremost. Let's make sure you have the right information and people can contact you. If they're wanting to get a hold of you, let's make it really easy for them to do that. And then secondly, it has to do with reviews or recommendations. And about 86% of consumers that go online will trust an online review over a friend or family's recommendation. And that's
Wow.
that's just the world we're in right now. And so for you to have good reviews and that online reputation is paramount to be able to convert new clients and customers.
Tina, I totally agree. I have been looking at a couple of different things, and hotel is one of them. And I am, particular about what kind of hotel I stay in. I don't want, I want it to be clean. I want it to be, it has to have a certain feel for me, right?
Sure.
And call me picky, but if I'm willing to pay for it, then I can be picky. The other thing I would say is Yelp, in my opinion, has become, I've looked up at a couple of things lately, and I cannot get past the Yelp. Do you want to download the app? Do you want to download
Yeah.
the app? And I can't seem to get past the Yelp. So I know that has become a bigger and bigger part. I also want to say something about what you said about misinformation. 97% of people have misinformation online. I went to a new breakfast place, and wanted to go there over the weekend. And I looked it up online so I could remember where it was. And I looked it up online, and it said they didn't open until 9. And I'm thinking, what breakfast place opens at 9 a.m., especially in Colorado, where we all want an early start to the day. And I get there, and I get to the pulling open the door, and there's hours on the door, and it said 6 a.m. So there were 3 hours that people did not know they were open if they looked online, and they didn't automatically know. And so misinformation. So I politely, as I am, tell the manager, like, hey, by the way, and I still don't think it's been fixed. So they did, they still haven't fixed it. So obviously it's not a top priority, but it should be, because they're losing money.
Well, and I don't think that a lot of business owners understand how easy and quickly that can be fixed.
Absolutely. I just had that situation this morning, looking for when the hours were, and then I called and called and called at 8 o'clock when they said that they opened. I got no answer. And then their voicemail didn't have anything like, yes, we're open. And so it caused me to think, are they open? Are they not open? They didn't say anything online. It said check each location. Well, check each location. So how important it is. Tell me a couple of things that you absolutely don't want to do online. What are the things that you don't want to do? My favorite topic. What do you don't want to do?
I think that the mistake I see a lot of small business owners make is focusing only on one aspect or one platform and kind of putting all their eggs in that basket and
Gotcha.
not realizing that they might have a demographic that maybe isn't as familiar there, or that there's some other place that they can put some time and resources to that might pay off better. A lot of times I hear people say, well, I tried that and it didn't work online.
Mm,
That's just not what my business does. And it might not be that. It might just be that their expectations are a little off, or that they weren't utilizing it for what it was created for. And sometimes those disconnects can completely tank a strategy or a campaign. And so again, to have that valued, trusted partner to be able to come in and look at it with different eyes and say,
mm-hmm.
here's how this works. And this is how it's going to work best for your business, so that you're not missing out or leaving money on the table.
So that's why we pay you, is to be that expert, that we don't have to pay attention to what's going on in that. We just allow you to tell us, what keywords we need to be using and where we need to show up and how we need to show up, and help to kind of dispel the mystery of thinking it doesn't work when all we needed to do was tweak one thing or change one button. I find that a lot.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot to click that button, right? And they basically tell me don't touch it. I like to have a general knowledge of what's happening, and so having somebody report to me and say, here's what that looks like for you, is way better than me trying to figure it out. Because if I come across one, and if it's two things that I can't get to work right, I don't have the knowledge, the patience, or anything to figure out why it's not working. And I just learned that it's easier to call someone and get them to help me than it is for me to be frustrated and try to figure out. Some people love that. They love digging into it. I do not.
Sure.
I do not want to be an expert in this area. And so, so that's where you really are kind of a slice of the pie, as I like to call it, that there are so many different things as business owners. We need to step out of the way. Stop doing things that we're not, I go over and over and over with people. Why are you building your website? So, what would you say is the one biggest advantage? Tie it all, kind of wrap it up in a bow for us and say, so Tina, if someone were to hire you, what are some of the expectations that they can expect over time?
That's a great question. I love that. My clients, I always start with a very thorough audit. And we go through and we look at how they are looking online, and then see kind of where they should be within their industry and how aggressive they want to get online. And then we really kind of walk through each of those steps and figure out the perfect plan for them and what's going to get done and what's going to be the most efficient. And it's great because when we first start, it's all so measurable online. We
Love
can
it.
see this is where we started, this is where we're going, and this is where we're going to be. And this is how many conversions we can expect, month over month. And this is how we can see growth. We can see all that. It's so different than like a print ad or, advertising in that way. We can get better and better and better every single month. And that is the best part of my job, is to be able to come back and report that and say, here's where we started, here's where we're at, and this is what it means to your business. This is how many more people had eyes on your brand. And we know your brand's correct and your information's correct. And this is how many people clicked for directions. This is how many people called you from what we've done online. And every single one of my clients has increased their business because they're getting more eyes on their business online. And it's fun. It's so much fun to see that and be able to really have a good expectation of what that growth is going to look like and how it's going to continue.
I love it. The internet's not going anywhere. And
No.
Being online is really imperative today. And I think, how do people, if they wanted to have a digital assessment with you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
If they go to my website, TruSolutionsCO.com, and it's spelled TRU without the E, and they can go there and contact me, phone, text, email. I also have a free online guide if they want to just take a quick snapshot as to how they look online. It kind of just walks through a couple things that they can see to see what's going on, a little bit behind the scenes. So I would really recommend everybody to just go to the website, contact me, call me, or download a guide.
Awesome. So bottom line, Tina, what you're telling me is that by working with you, people are increasing their online presence and making more money because they're being found more often.
Absolutely.
Awesome. At the end of the day, that's what businesses want. They want to be
Yes.
found, they want to be seen, and they want to make more money. So thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank
And
you.
I really enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about what you did as well.
Thank you.